Let's get down to business, shall we? The Trump administration is rolling back an anti-corruption requirement meant to prevent criminals and shell companies from laundering money. The administration will not enforce reporting requirements of the 2021 Corporate Transparency Act. The New York Times reports the move came after a campaign by lobbying groups that argued that the rules were too difficult for businesses. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called the requirement burdensome, saying that eliminating it is a win for small businesses. But the move is raising eyebrows as it could pave the way for more corruption across the country. Joining me now is Victoria Guida, economics correspondent for Politico, and Max Chafkin, journalist at Bloomberg Businessweek and host of Bloomberg's Everybody's Business podcast. Victoria, is this requirement, as Scott Bessent is suggesting, just red tape? And what do we need to know about relaxing it?
So this was a law that was actually negotiated during Trump's first term. Steven Mnuchin, who was then the Treasury Secretary, was a key negotiator on this bill. Marco Rubio, who's, of course, now a senior official in the Trump administration, was then a senator, and he was a key backer of this bill. And this passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. And the idea was basically, we have a bunch of money moving through shell companies. We should probably know who's behind them so we can better track illicit finance. So it is definitely true that small businesses have been complaining that this paperwork is burdensome. But just to kind of put this in perspective, this is still being enforced. It's just now being enforced on a very small universe of companies. So there are about 27 million companies that used to have to abide by these rules that now will be exempt. And the rules that it does apply to, which is basically foreign entities, is less than 17,000.
So, Max, what was it like before we had this requirement, and what's expected now?
I mean, we're going back to the way it was, which is that it's very hard to know when you're talking about just a random LLC or a random corporation. It's very hard for journalists, of course, but also the government, regulators to know who owns it, who controls it. And that makes it hard to deal with money laundering, which is the reason that was given when this bill was passed. It also makes all kinds of regulations hard. And I think it's true that a lot of small businesses don't like this because it's another form that has to be filled out.
Is it burdensome for them? As Bessent suggests, or is that an excuse?
I think if you asked some of them, they would say, yeah, there's so much paperwork to do. But I will say that some of the people this affects, include Elon Musk. Elon Musk uses tons of shell companies. Lots of very powerful people also use shell companies to hide what they're doing, to make it harder to be regulated. And we even saw, in the early months of the Trump administration, Elon Musk kind of weighing in on this, saying he was going to look into this. So we'll see. It definitely affects small companies, but it affects a lot of things.
So, Victoria, square this for us. You mentioned that, Marco Rubio, when he was a senator, was a key backer of this restriction. So how does the administration then toe this line of having someone in their own orbit who was a proponent of this while also scaling it back?
Yeah, this is a big question. I mean, again, this was something that was actually negotiated under President Trump. The way that I think they're squaring the circle is basically, look, we still want to know where this money is coming from, but basically we need to focus on foreign entities because that's where the big danger is. The question mark there is, if you don't know who the ownership is, then you don't necessarily know whether you're having a foreign entity or not. And they could be opening themselves up to legal challenge. But, I guess if Marco Rubio becomes president after President Trump, maybe he could implement it differently. But again, they are still implementing this bill. It's just a much smaller universe of companies.
We're a little ways away from Marco Rubio becoming president. We'll see. Max, let's turn to tariffs, to trade. This is a bit of a technical one, but I think it's important to our viewers. A federal trade court kept in place Trump's elimination of the de minimis loophole, which allowed imported goods under $800 of value to be tax-free. So the way this impacts people is, Shein and Temu, that's where people buy these cheaper goods. What are Americans going to feel from this?
Yeah, this is the Temu exemption. This is part of the reason stuff on Temu and Shein, and also on some marketplaces like Amazon, has been a lot cheaper, because if you ship it directly from China, then you're not paying taxes on it. It's kind of a weird situation, and it's one where I think consumers like it because they like cheap stuff. And you could argue that at a time when tariffs are high, when gas prices are high, this is another thing that consumers are going to have to deal with. On the other hand, this was advantaging, businesses outside the U.S. It's also something that should probably help Amazon and some other big sellers of discount goods in the U.S. because they're, of course, competing with Temu and Shein.
Okay, so on the issue of tariffs and trade, Victoria, you have new reporting, a new column about how markets have made peace with Trump and his tariffs. They're not essentially causing the uproar that many may have predicted. Why is that? Tell us more.
So there's several reasons for that. I mean, one is the stock market keeps going up because we have all of this money being poured into artificial intelligence infrastructure, and that is leading the stock market to go up regardless of what's happening in sort of more specific sectors like retail. We've seen tariffs hit in general, small and medium-sized businesses a lot harder than bigger companies, and that's, those companies are not in the S&P 500. But also, I mean, growth has held up. Unemployment is 4.1%. We have seen prices get pushed up, but the economy has largely weathered these, roughly 10% tariffs. And now that markets feel like they have a sense of where tariffs are landing, they've kind of just decided to roll with it.
It is predictably unpredictable. Victoria and Max, thank you so much.